Hello, beautiful star warriors. I'm the magical medium. Welcome to the spiritual guidance channel. The bitchy witch is back, but there's a lot happening. Follow me if you will, like follow this flow of what's happening right now. I'm just coming out of a really intense meditation. I'm going to put the meditations down below. I will find the links for them, and I will put the meditations below for you to listen to. If they're not there, then they're not meant to be there. But there were at least the first 5 were so intense, and if Spirit has me put them in order, I will number them so that you will align to that. And if you can, watch them all together at once. If you are ready for that. Because I didn't even know what was happening until it was happening. You know what I mean? And I've had a lot of time to reflect over the last few days. And I don't know if I'm bitchy so much as just like feeling awake. And also realizing how much it means when Spirit says to us, this apophyllite, or when the universe tells us to live by the law of harm none. Do no harm to yourself or others. Do no harm. So when you're upset and you're angry, you're allowed to speak your truth and speak your peace. But if you're doing harm to another in the process, then you're not aligning with Spirit and you're not aligning with the nature of love. And this has been a really tough one for me. I didn't realize how deeply programmed I was until the last month over this Leo season. And welcome Virgo season. And happy birthday to Amber and to Jules, our Leos. Happy birthday. And if you have a birthday or if you are a Leo, speak up, like, let us know, Always feel free to speak in the comments below. I always said I will always respond if I'm drawn to do so. I downloaded the YouTube, the studio app or whatever on my phone, and I found so many messages and so many posts that you guys have put, and I was trying to go through them in the order, kind of backwards, meaning like from like current time like down, and then I realized there were so many I missed over like the last few years, and so I'm so sorry if I ever missed you. It was never deliberate or on purpose. But I was reading them. I read a lot of them. I just did not have the energy to go anymore. I was like, maybe one day I will, especially if they're, I was trying to go through an order, and then I was trying to go through people that really needed a response, or that I felt like Spirit needed them to have the response, if that makes sense. But I do love the comments, and you are heard, because even if I don't see them, other people see them. And just because I don't respond to you once doesn't mean I won't ever respond. But there's just a lot happening, and we're growing in numbers. Welcome to all the new members. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Star Family. I mean, really, that's all it is. But this woke thing, I'm doing my best to speak of it in a loving way. Because I don't want to lump a group of people into one, you know what I mean? Like, that's what starts trouble. That's what starts wars. This like, I am better than you. I am this, I am that. And, and I've done it too. We've been through that level of the game in our consciousness, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, well, I've had 27 lives. And it's like, now when you look at it, you're like, it really doesn't matter. I mean, and then I went through like the phase of like, well, 27 lives, man, you fucking really needed to get that shit right, And then that's ego, right? And then I was like, well, 27 lives, like, wow, you're a fucking warrior, man. Like, if you keep coming back, So in the end, what I realized is, even if you're just here for the first time right now, it's like, this place is rough as fuck. And it is ever changing all the time. So I brought in this beautiful rock. I know the lighting, I'm just leaving it. I'm not trying to fight or, you know, it is what it is right now where I am. And so it is. Doesn't matter. But this beautiful rock I collected from the Pacific Northwest Ocean. It's really beautiful. When it's wet, let me see. Hold on. I thought you might be able to see it better if it was wet. But you can almost see through it. If the sun was shining in here, you'd be able to see through it more. Do you hear that? That's my voice. So Virgo energy is earth energy, and that's what we need right now. And, you know, I had this really great moment in meditation today about, I'm bringing the apophyllite. I just spilled water all over my pillow. But Spirit was kind of showing me just how beautiful the Lionsgate portal is, and Leo season, and fire, and like how the fire flows into earth, and the earth flows into air, and the air flows into water, and then it starts the cycle all over again. And you know, fire signs, each fire sign, earth sign, air sign, and water sign has their own energy that goes with it. And Leos are like, look at me, look at me, you know what I mean? They're the lion. They're like, oh yeah, I will cut you up with my little claws. I've been so I was like, okay, since my nails wanted to come back, I thought, well, I'm gonna make them into claws then, because I'm like, that's more fun. Been growing like crazy, so I'm taking that as they want to come back. I'm coming back slowly, but I'm also morphed into somebody completely brand new, and I'm still trying on this new suit. I'm still, you know, realizing that this harm none, it's really difficult, because when you speak ill of anyone in any way, even if you're putting in a group and you're like, well, I'm not talking about you specifically, I'm talking about, you know, a group of people, or, you know, I noticed what happened yesterday. I was in a local store and I was really in a shitty mood. I was frustrated, and I realized, because I had just spent 5 days straight of eating sugar. 5 days straight of eating refined sugar. You know, sometimes you realize, like, Spirit puts something in your path for a reason. And even if you're not ready to see it yet, or you're not ready to experience it yet, it fucking finds its way to you. Yeah, this one smacked me in the face like you would not even believe. And the teachers that have been around me, and then I got so frustrated yesterday, with a lot of things, and then it was just like the topping on the cake was like, we've been here a month, I don't know where anything fucking is, I don't even know, like, blah blah blah. And I feel like we've been spending our days driving around, like, checking things out, but like every 3 or 4 days we'll do that. But it's been really hard for me, because this place, it doesn't matter what day of the week it's always busy. And I love it. You know, it's still touristy. I have to remember that it's still summertime, you know, just because kids are going back to school, or it was Monday, you know what I mean? It's still a very touristy place where this is. And so, you know, I'm realizing my limits on things. And so I had this moment with Alder yesterday, and I was like, I don't want to live here. I'm like, this place is so fucking busy. I'm like, and I was just like crabby, and I was just, you know, whatever. And I'm like, this isn't the sugar talking. This is just in general. I'm like, just go home. I'm like, what's everybody doing? Why does everybody have to be outside? He's like, you can just see his face. And then I stop in this one store, and I'm looking, and use my pendulum looking for dog food. And dog food. Oh, Freudian slip, because I have been feeling dog energy. It's been coming to me. Wolf energy has been coming to me. Dog energy has been coming to me. And yesterday when we were driving around, we found the Humane Society, and I was like, dude, I think my dog's in there. He's like, what? I'm like, can we go look at dogs? He's like, not today. I'm like, I was like, so we were driving around, and I was starting to get irritated about it. And I think he knows, and he knows me, that if I'm like, if I want a fucking dog, and whatever, I'm going to get a dog. But I don't know what's meant to be yet, or what's going to happen. And so I let him have that, but then I let it fester, and the resentment. And I was like, who the fuck is he to tell me I can't fucking go look at fucking dogs? I want to go look at fucking dogs right now. I was like, oh my gosh. Then I go into this store, and I'm looking for cat food for Papa. And this woman is trying to help me out. And we went from talking about cat food to me going on a tirade about the Trump flags around here. And her face like going like, where either she's a supporter or she's just somebody who's like, I don't want to talk politics or smack with you. Whatever it was, she just like shut down. 1 minute we were talking, jiving, feeling like a girl talk for a minute, like I needed a little bitch talk, you know, a little bitchy witch needed to come out a little bit. And then she just like was like that. And so even that, I was just like, oh, okay. I felt that they were a supporter. And even so, that's okay. And if you're on here and you follow them, I don't know how you align with me and this, but that's okay. I don't judge it. I love you. If you believe in that, that's fine. If you unsubscribe, that's okay too. But you know, I feel like we are growing in numbers because of we stand for love and peace and truth. And I have a hard time when people who are supporters of Trump and say that he's the second coming, because I'm like, really? Because then I would think that Jesus has really fucking devolved over time. I mean, is it me? I mean, I'm not trying to judge, but come on. And I guess that's judgment, right? I don't know. So first, harm none. And that wasn't really fair for me to bring my shit into her fucking workplace. So I apologize for that, beautiful soul. And yeah, so I started to realize that it is really difficult to first harm none and be bitchy. So when I speak of the bitchy witch or the conscious witch, because that's what I was getting from Spirit, I was downloading and I was like, so no more bitchy witch or whatever. And they're like, well, just be more of like a conscious bitchy witch, a bitchy conscious witch. But with no ego, and that's hard, right? So there's just a lot that's going on. And whenever I do something like that, like what I purge on something I know is really bad for me, like literally, like I felt like my body yesterday was like, go ahead, fucking smartass, put yourself back in the fucking hospital. Go ahead. You think, okay. You know, it was like the duel of like my higher, like adult mature self and my child self that's like, fuck you. If I want to eat fucking sugar, I'm gonna eat as much fucking sugar as I want. And my body's like, okay. You are not in that alignment. That's not who you are. You can have it once in a while. You can have it sometimes, but every day for 5 days, good luck with that. Because it's like putting fucking sugar in a gas tank. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to fucking ruin the car and ruin the engine. And so, you know, have your whatever. But for me, it's usually 5 days. Like when I go on, I haven't been on a bender like that in so long. Like I even said to Alder, I go, something's wrong when I go, we were like home free, living in a tent for 36 days. And I didn't do that. I didn't lose my shit. I lost my shit a few times, but I didn't like go off the rails, like eating like shit for 5 days straight and like allowing my body to like go through this horrible, no. But this was different. And I realized I'm like, I needed to come clean, so to speak. When I looked down, it was 1305, which is also the number 9, because I'm almost there. We're so close. And part of the bitchy witch is that the stuff on the house has kind of been put on hold, and I was upset because of certain things that have happened. And this right now is really hard because if I say anything about anyone in any capacity, I am harming them and myself. But it was really rough. It was rough to go up there. I'm like trying to channel the light and feel the grounding energy. It was rough to go up there and see things and see like certain things that were done a certain way. And that like, I'm like, I'm going to be living there. That's a really, really bad idea that you did that. And Alder was like, we can heal the earth. And I'm like, you know, but it's like, but there's this part of me that's like my dragon wants to come out and be like, get the fuck out of my house and I will finish it myself. Like, seriously. But then there's this other side of me that's like, you up. As an angel friend of mine used to say, up. He used to say, like, you know, like, shut up. Like, I love you, but he'd be like, no, zip it. Don't let it come out. Because you can be angry and you can be upset, but don't channel the anger at the person because it's their level of consciousness. That's what they're going through. That's what they're dealing with. And when we get mad at each other and we get frustrated and we call each other names or we send an energy towards each other with shitty, you know what I mean? Like when we do that, that's when we make ourselves sick and toxic. That's why I was making myself sick and toxic. Then last night we were watching stuff on the couch. I was really cozy. We got this beautiful, I think it's alpaca and something else blanket, from our friend, or one of our new friends, and it's so beautiful. And we've been using it here and there, like at nighttime when we're getting cozy watching a movie. But I usually have layers on, and I like wear my hoodie a lot, so I didn't pay attention. I noticed that it's itchy and scratchy because I have allergies to a lot of things, that are, it's interesting. I have a lot of allergies to synthetic things, but then also to like things that are made out of animals. So it's like almost like my body doesn't want that on it or near it. So long story short, he went to go watch something. I stayed on the couch and I was getting cozy and I was watching this really cute, this architectural digest thing with Kirsten Dunst. It was so cute. I was like really getting into it. I fell asleep. Well, I was so cozy that I was just like, oh, I'm just going to bring the blanket over me. But I was wearing like, kind of like a tank top onesie kind of thing, but it's like pants, but like capri. Anyway, long story short, I had the blanket. I pulled the blanket over my whole body because it got cold in here. And then when it got even colder, I pulled the whole blanket over my head and breathed it in for 4 hours. I woke up at 4 in the morning because last time I looked at the clock, it was like midnight. I woke up at 4 in the morning and I swear to God, I was like my airwaves felt like they were caving in. I was like, oh my gosh, that feeling where you feel like you're getting a cold or your allergies. Holy fucking shitballs. I am not even kidding you. I had to like pull off my clothes and like pull, like, I was like, oh my God, I just like literally put my hair down because I had my hair up. And so it was just getting all over my neck and stuff. But I have a lot of essential oils I keep like on my hands and my hair and stuff. So I like kind of pulled my hair to myself and put on a long sleeve shirt. And I got into bed and, Alder just like pulled me to him like a little teddy bear, and he's such a natural healer. So I just kind of invoked some healing energy and Reiki healing energy. And I fell back asleep for 3 hours and I woke up and I was like, oh my God, between the sugar and like my allergies, like I'm all swollen and here and here. I was like, oh my goddess. And I haven't felt this shitty in so long. And I know it's because I've been allowing a lot of other people's stuff in and taking it on and helping them work through their healing stuff. And it's just been too much. So I realized, I'm like, of course, we're in we're in waning crescent energy. So we're at the very last cycle of the moon, and it is the rest and restore phase. Whenever you watch this is timeless, but it's spirit telling you to rest and slow down whenever you watch this, And I don't care if it's the beginning of the moon cycle, full moon, full blast, doesn't matter. Sometimes when we run ourselves ragged, it can get rough. And we are in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. I highly suggest that if anything that you need to get done, paperwork, moving, anything like that, please do yourself a favor and get it done by September 1st or wait until October, okay? Because mid to late October. Because the things that I've been hearing from astrologers is this Mercury retrograde coming up is going to be a fucking doozy. And it's going to be through Virgo, through Libra season. So it's going to be, we're starting in an earth energy, and then we're going to be going into air. And when people get into air energy, they can get really flighty. So, take that for whatever it is, but don't sign contracts or do anything that you don't have to do. You have the power. In fact, I said to Alder, one of the reasons why I was starting to freak out was that they told us when we first got here that we'd be in a few weeks. And I jokingly said, that's 2 contractors telling me that. I said, I'm not dumb. I know that takes twice the amount of time. I go, but definitely by September 1st, we need to be in there, because fall comes quickly around here. And this last week, it's like, I'm watching like leaves falling and stuff, and my control was getting, was seeping in. And I was like saying to Alder, I'm like, we need to look somewhere else. And I was like, I want to have all of our stuff moved in by the 1st. And I was just freaking out, eating the sugar, freaking out, bitching, complaining, just like letting everything because the Lionsgate portal and Leo season was amazing for me on like multiple fucking levels. We went from glamping and home free to like having a roof over our heads. And, but now I'm at the point where we've been here, we're 2 days shy in real time for me of being here a full month. And it's hard to be here a full month and go up there and, you know, see it. And it was fun at first. I was taking video. I'll post them when Spirit calls me to. It was fun to, like, you know, kind of be there. But then I started to get really frustrated, and I was like taking my anger out at people in general. And so, you know, because it's not on my time, right? Because I'm like, everything. And so this morning, finally, like, everything caught up with me. I spoke to Spirit. I sat in meditation with these songs during like the fourth, I think the fifth one. I forget the name of it, but I wrote a new poem. It's amazing. I can't wait to put it together. In fact, it was when Spirit said something about doing no harm. And yeah, anyway, it just woke my witch. And so I'm just realizing, like, when we get angry at people for being where they are, like, you know, because woke is now become a trend, just like anything else, it's become a trend. But people who aren't actually doing the work and getting in there and healing themselves from the inside out and the outside in and all that good stuff, you know, those are usually the ones that are casting the first stones. You know, those are the ones that are like walking around with the Jesus signs downtown, you know, and saying, you know, Jesus died for your sins and all this stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? Jesus is, it's like, why are you bringing Jesus into it? Like, let people heal in the way they want to heal. Let people connect with Jesus the way they want to connect with Jesus. You know, if they want to stand around there and be a prophet, let them stand around there and be a prophet if that's what they feel they need to do. But it's just like things like that, where when I'm starting to get angry, I realize that I am not working from... See, she just keeps creeping back in. She keeps creeping back in. You see it? It's like, no matter how many times I try to rectify this, it's like the bitchy witch is like, but shit needs to get fucking said. It does. But does it? It does. But like, am I going to get out of the car and go up to him and start fucking telling him how to, you know, that how my relationship with Jesus and that, you know, blah, blah, blah. And like, who are you to like tell, you know, no. Because he's has a freedom to be here. He can be and do, you know, whatever, as long as you harm none. Is he harming anybody? You're only harmed by that sign or that situation if you are having an internal issue with Jesus or yourself or love or loving others, you know what I mean? Or judging others or whatever it is. But I feel like right now we're kind of in this downward spiral, and it's happening kind of quickly. And I feel like some people are holding on to this like woke balloon to like kind of think that it's going to sail them back up, you know? It's like those people that start praying at the very end of days, you know, in those movies, or when their plane's about to crash or whatever, then they're like, oh God, please God, please God, please God. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I did this. It's like people, all this confession comes out and you're like, whoa, shit. You're like, I'm a pedophile. You know, it's like, I'm a rapist. Like all these horrible things like come out, and people think like, cause if this is really it, if there is something out there or somebody out there, I better make sure I get the last fucking thing in, right? But yeah. And so I am finding that I do love being around people, but I do not want to go out as much as I would like to. And I will get my license and get a car. But I feel like right now, this earth energy, it's this Virgo energy is bringing me into the hermit, you know? Like, it's so, it's, what's the word? Visceral, you know what word I'm talking about? Visceral. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm really feeling that. So it's interesting to see like what's going to happen over the next, like how many weeks. So this morning in meditation, Spirit said, you know, instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, as they say, which is such a horrible saying, really. I'm like, I feel like I gotta like erase my brain of these like weird, like very visual things for a lot of us. But I realized I'm like, I need to talk to them and say like, listen, I have got to have my furniture out by September 1st, because not only that, I don't want to pay another month of storage, and we have to be out of our storage space at the end of September. And I don't want to move during that time. So Mercury goes into retrograde, I think on the 9th, around then in September. But I'm like, no. So I think what I'm going to say to them is I at least need him to be completely moved out by a certain date so that we can be completely moved out of our storage unit by September 1st. And even if that means that we just get one room completely clean and done and put everything in there. Like I was thinking already, like I want to get everything out of like this one room, and I want to, you know, bless it, clean it, whatever. And then I want to get all the furniture, everything out of there. And then, you know, get as much done as we can on the house, but then move all of our stuff in, because, and then just put it in that room and shut the door. And then when it's time, you know what I mean? Then that way it's like, it'll be done. It'll be ready. And also our stuff will start to bless it, because our stuff is really like potent. You know what I mean? Like it's really blessed up. So I think it's going to be a great way to do that. I couldn't tell if I heard somebody pulling up. Anyway, I'm not going to let it sidetrack me. Even if they do, there's a sign up that says there's a reading in progress. Or session. I should have said session because I don't always do readings. But anywho, long story short, what I realized was that I was only hurting myself and challenging myself. And that little girl was just like, she needed to go on a rampant sugar binge. Like she was just like, I need some sugar, and I need some like to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm done with sugar. But then yesterday I'm like, I need barbecue potato chips. I need to have them today. Like these, like, and poor Alder, he's just like, okay. And I'm like, and then after this, like, no sugar in the house. And I mean it, like, we need to, I'm like, you know, because you don't realize, like, you know, I go, can you imagine if oxygen was your addiction, but you need oxygen to breathe and live? I go, we need food to live. It's a shitty fucking addiction. It sucks. We all have addictions. I'm not saying that one is better or worse or whatever than the other, but there are some that you do not need to actually survive on the planet. Food, unfortunately, is one of them. You know, but it's interesting because I realized today in meditation, Spirit gave me like what I've been through physically over the last 5 years, 6 years really. It'll be 6 years at the end of this month that I first got pancreatitis. Wow, that's fucking crazy to think that's been 6 years already. Whew. Time goes by so fast. But I have healed myself and learned how to heal myself and learned what I can eat and can't eat. And even if I do eat something, I know how to heal myself through it, you know, whatever. So I got cocky, let my ego, you know, kind of take over. But it was almost like I woke up this morning and saw myself and saw everything. And it was like Leo season was done, because I'm a triple fire. I'm sad, right? So of course I'm going to like feed. And I'm like, eat, Papa, eat, from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with the Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. And he's like super skinny. And she's like, don't worry about it. I'll get him nice and fat for Christmas, which is super unhealthy. But you know what I mean. But it's okay. It's like I've learned how to work with my addiction. I don't know if I'll ever be fully rid of it, because it's tied into so many things with my family. Food was tied into my family on so many different levels, like really tied into my family. You know, we ate when we were happy, we ate when we were sad, you know, we ate when we were mad. It didn't matter. It was just like, that's how we dealt with our emotions, was food. And one of the things that I was taught was not to feel and to push things away, and that I felt too much. And I had a lot of conditions and a lot of control was put on my emotions. And as an empath, I didn't understand. And there were a lot of empaths in my family that also suffered. And there's a lot of people in my family that are really, in my blood and bone family, that are really unhealthy. This was very generational. This was very ancestral, and things that were passed on. And so, you know, would they harm us? No, our ancestors. That's not their goal. They don't want to hurt us or harm us. But at the same time, you know, we have to face and work with the darkness and the demons when they come for us. And this particular demon that's connected to my food addiction and sugar and all that kind of stuff, it's very warranted. A lot of comfort. I felt very alone, you know, so food was my best friend too. There were a lot of times where I was like, it's so hard. I'm like, but food's like my best friend. It was like, you know, and food became my babysitter. My mom did that. That started when I was 12. And, you know, when I was growing up, we were only allowed to have like so much, or my mom would be like, you know, this has to go for 5 people. You can't just eat whatever you want, you know, don't be selfish. This is for everybody. Or, you know, certain foods were for certain people. Other people didn't really like it in the family. We kind of knew that, you know. So don't be a dick and give it to your friends when they come over to visit, you know. It's like, because that's your siblings' food, you know, kind of thing. I mean, obviously we'd give people something if they didn't like whatever, but you know what I mean? It's like, we just were taught like respect around food, but yet it was like I was put on a timer if I didn't eat my food. Like there was just so many fucking weird things that were so horribly damaging that were done to, especially to myself in general. And then when my parents got divorced and I was 12, food became a babysitter. It was easy for my mom because she would just, go and get me my favorite movies. That's when Blockbuster first came out, video stores or whatever. I don't even know if Blockbuster was out yet. You know what I mean? But I just remember there was like a local video store and my mom would, go there. She would always try and go there like, the day before or that morning of, to get me like good stuff to watch. And she'd bribe me with like food and movies and be like, hey, you can have your friends over, kind of thing. But if my friends were busy or they had family obligations or whatever, I was alone. And I was always looking for someone to hang out with because I went from having 5 people in my family, being the youngest of 5, to being alone, completely alone. And here's some movies and some food. Okay. So, there's a lot of psychological stuff that happens with that. And so watching movies and TV shows, that became like, they were my friends, these characters, these people. And we all feel that, right? Like we all feel that affinity, or there's that certain character that we really align with. And no, the bitchy witch wants to come out and be like, did you hear about Anne Frank and how they're trying to ban Anne Frank and her books and saying that they never happened? What the fuck? What? If it's true, that makes me really fucking sad. But I was there. Something happened in that place. I was in Amsterdam and I was in that house and I was like hysterically crying. At the end, they had the book in all these different languages and you hear a little girl like reading or younger, young girl, young woman reading a book, and it's, from her like point of view. And it's just, when you're in there, I remember thinking, I cannot believe this many people lived in this small space. So if it's not real, then that's heartbreaking. And if it needs to come out and that's not true, then we just have to be prepared for whatever happens, Sometimes we don't want to hear or feel the truth because it's just too harsh. So we lose ourselves in fantasy and folklore and things like that. And that's where the best stories come out of, right? Our passion and our pain. So, funnel this energy and this earth energy, go into hermit mode in Virgo season. This is also when in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going into fall. I know for those of you in our tribe that are in the Southern Hemisphere, hello, I know you guys are going into spring and that's exciting. So I know that can be like such a head fuck too, right? Because we're like in different places, but we're connected. It just teaches us how to like really flow and to respect other people and what they're going through, because we're not always going through the same thing at the same time. But we do have similar stories and we do have things that help guide us. And we do have to get the bitchy stuff out sometimes, but we have to be careful where we're guiding that energy and not to shoot our laser missiles at exact people, because, even if you feel like they're a dick or they're being an asshole or whatever the terminology is, if they're being unfaithful or untrue or whatever, if you're a telepath like myself and someone lies to your face, just send them love back. As the lies are coming toward you, just send them love back. I've had to do that a lot lately. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting because it's been coming from all over. As much as I love that we're growing in numbers, woo woo, and I'm not afraid of you. You come with it, because we're gonna push back with love. But yeah, I definitely can feel when people bring their shit, whether it's in person or on social media or through text or over the phone. It doesn't matter. I feel it. I see it. I hear it. And a lot of times, the person that I'm talking to doesn't even know that, because it's their little demon on their shoulder that's like telling me the ugliest fucking shit. And I'm like, whoa, man, you got them woven tight, locked down in there. So I have to remember that is not directed towards me. And I've got to just send them back love. And until they're ready to let go of that darkness and that demon, that's their path through the dark night of the soul. That is their path through that shadow. And it's really not ours. It's really not. So thank you for sending good wishes my way. Thank you for the donations and the support. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the love. I love you. Thank you for the subscriptions. It really helps because we're elevating the tribe. And you know what's interesting? I wanted to talk about this really quickly. And those of you who were on my Patreon channel, thank you. You'll get this. So have you noticed that YouTube is changing? And now they're like bringing that kind of Patreon-esque thing to YouTube. I don't know what the terms are. I don't know anything about that, but I love that because the more you grow in numbers, the more that, you know, obviously they're going to get a cut, but so did Patreon. So I need to look into it and see what's going on. But that'll be a really cool way for you guys to support me. But as of right now, I cannot get supported financially in that way until subscriptions, you know, until I hit 1,000 subscribers. I really hope they change that because, you know, there's just so much out there right now that, I don't know, but I kind of feel like too, like you hit the algorithms where you're supposed to hit them. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like it's all supposed to happen when it's meant to happen. So, yeah, so it means that, see what I mean? Trying to control it. It doesn't matter. Because for right now, things are good and I have a roof over my head. And hey, man, I'm really learning how to live off the grid. And you know what? I said to Alder yesterday, I go, we kind of fucked ourselves. And he's like, why? And I go, because in our manifestation book that we titled A Log Cabin in the Woods 7 years ago, the things that are missing on here are the things that we're irritated about. We fucking asked for that. We said we wanted to be able to like live off the grid fully. And now that it's like that, and we're like, and I'm like, you know, he said, yeah, but we also said like a well, and I go, it has a well, but it has to be on a generator. It's not like gravity fed yet, and so like there's just a lot of things that we're gonna have to do. So I wasn't trying to walk away to be a coward. I was just more like, my controlling thing is like, move out of the way, let me fucking do it. I'm like, let me give me that book, you know, or I'm like, I'll go to fucking YouTube University, as somebody gave me, you know who you are. That is the funniest thing. I know that they didn't, you know, invent the wheel or anything, but when I heard it, I'm like, that's hilarious. But it's true. There's so much out there right now. I'm like, Alder and I are really, really bright. I've been through a lot. He's been through a lot. I'm like, between the two of us, I'm like, we can get in there and fix this fucking place and make it awesome. So I'm kind of giving this like till September, the end of September, for him to be completely fully out and to have us completely in. Even if we have to live in here while we're, you know, installing the plumbing and doing all that stuff, then that's fine. But I'm like, I don't want to be doing that shit during the rain when it's getting cold, you know, and watching the leaves falling. I'm like, like I'm trying like not to, I'm trying not to control it. As I push the apophyllite to my third eye. And it's so fucking hard. Anyway, you guys, I talked on a little bit too much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of this tribe. Thank you for being a part of this whole fucking beautiful story, this show on Earth that we call life. Electric life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else. The afterworld. A world of never-ending happiness. You can always see the sun. Day or night. So when you call up that shrink in Beverly Hills, you know the one, doctor, tell you everything's gonna be all right, right? He's telling you about how much time you got left, something like that. Well, listen, something. This life, you're on your own. But if the elevator tries to break you down, go crazy and party time, party down. Anyway, but basically, we're not alone. When in that third dimensional energy, they want us to think that we're alone, but we're not, because we are flowing with the afterlife. And if you found yourself here, you're a powerful light worker and spirit warrior, and you didn't come here by accident, and you have a purpose and you have a mission. So I hope that any of the work on the Spiritual Guidance channel helps you in any way. I'm Tallulah Kelly, the magical medium. I love you so much. Be really good care. Take good care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you at the next whatever. Blessed be. Oh.